ॐ नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः. Dear Sri Makwana Sahib, fathers who have come just now, very happy to meet you. Dear friends, all the principals of English medium schools and other dignitaries, we heartily welcome you all. It's a great pleasure. It's a dream come true. For 40 years, we have been trying our best to get this historic bungalow, this Dilaram bungalow where we are sitting. We are all blessed to be sitting here because this is the place where Swami Vivekananda himself stayed. In April 1892, all of you will have been given the brochure. This is the brochure in your file, gives the details. Swami Vivekananda himself wrote a beautiful letter in his own handwriting. This is his handwriting. 26 April 1892, he says, he wrote this from this bungalow. That today, what all he saw in Baroda, and he said, today I am leaving for Bombay. So from 40 years we have been trying to get this historic bungalow. Just as in Porbandar, in the historic Bhojeshwar bungalow, Swami Vijay had stayed. And in 1997 we got this bungalow on 12th January and a memorial was started and an ashrama was started. So on 18th April this year, we got this historic bungalow from the government of Gujarat. They have given to us on 30 years lease for converting into a fitting memorial of Swami Vivekananda. That's a great thing. It's a dream come true of many years. And now the 160th branch center of Ramakrishna Mission has started. As you know, Swami Vivekananda himself started Ramakrishna Mission in 1897 in order to give shape to the great message of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna's message was threefold. Message number one, each and every human being has got a special role to play while he has come on earth. He or she must realize the infinite potential before embracing death. He or she must conquer death before death conquers him or her. He or she must realize the infinite potential, and that is the special purpose for which he or she is born. That is number one. Second, this can be obtained, this realization, self-realization can be achieved by praying in a temple, in a church, in a mosque, in any good place or gurudwara, more importantly in the poor's hut, more importantly in a hospital, more importantly in any charitable work, that because each and every human being has got that image. Please come here. Tyati Badan, you please direct them that they should come from here this side. So, this image of the Lord is present in each and every human being. So worship of the God in human beings. Sri Ramakrishna practiced all religions by turn. He practiced Hinduism, Christianity, and he had the vision of Jesus Christ. That's why we celebrate Christmas Eve on a big way. Here he practiced Islam. That's why we celebrate Eid in a big way in all our centers in Bangladesh. These three messages of Sri Ramakrishna, in order to give shape to these three messages of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda started Ramakrishna Mission. And we have 160 branches all over the world. 40 abroad and 120 in India. Our headquarters is in Belur Math. near Ganges, near Kolkata. 40 abroad, contain 10 in Bangladesh, 12 in the United States, and 1 each in Switzerland, France, Argentina, Canada, Brazil, Australia, Singapore, Fiji, Mauritius, Sri Lanka, etc. 1 each. And so total 40 centers abroad, 120 centers in India, out of which so far we had 3 centers in Gujarat. Rajkot, working for last 80 years, Limdi, working for last 10 years, Porbandar, working for last 7 years after we got the historic bungalow in 1997. And now the 4th center in Gujarat and the first in the whole of South Gujarat, because all the centers are located in Saurashtra. This is a great occasion to celebrate for the South Gujarat people that through Baroda Center, the whole of South Gujarat will be served. So the 4th center has now started in Baroda. On 18th April we got this historic bungalow, and now the new center has started. Some activities we have started, a little small library. An exhibition was started on the same day on 18th April. There is a beautiful meditation hall, small prayer hall, meditation hall. And we have got weekly discourses every Sunday, 6:15 to 7:15. Every day evening prayer, 7:15. Likewise, spiritual retreats, retreats for youths, retreats for teachers. Likewise, we have started the programs. And of course we have got our medical center in Sawag. And at present, as you know, right from 1897, Ramakrishna Mission has been very immensely involved in the disaster management. Whenever there is any disaster, any part of country, we immediately rush there, because worshipping of the divine in human beings is the first and foremost thing. So 1897 was our first relief work in May 1897, that was drought relief in Bengal. Since then, thousands of relief works have been conducted. The last biggest one was, of course, tsunami, where we spent about 15 crores of rupees. And now the last phase of tsunami rehabilitation work is going on. We have, after the primary relief, we have given 400 boats to those people who lost their boats, steam boats, and also the fishing nets, etc., to the fishermen. And of course housing colonies for them. That is the latest one. Before that was the earthquake relief. As you know, on 26 January 2001, there was a big earthquake. So immediately on the same day we started the relief work, and after doing primary relief for about 3 crores, we carried out the rehabilitation project about 17 crores and constructed 6 colonies and 81 school buildings. And all over the world it was very well recognized. Ramakrishna Mission, and why we are meeting here today is that now in Baroda, what would be our focus? We were thinking, and we thought one of the most important things at present needed in the society, there are many education institutions of high brilliance, giving best students with best achievement on academically speaking, but unfortunately one part is lacking, the life skills. Just now Mr. Makwana was pointing out 3 days back a girl whom we wanted to honor today. Yes, we wrote a letter to her. We wrote a letter to her today in the evening. We are going to have a felicitation of brilliant students, top 10, and so we were waiting for her today to receive the great citation of honor and the shield and the books that will be presented today evening, 4:30. So we called all the students of Gujarat board. Of course, for the central board we are going to have a similar function on 15th August, same 4 p.m. Today also 4 p.m. So we are waiting for her. Suddenly I read in the newspaper, gone. She has committed suicide. For no reason. Somebody is telling because she had lost mother. But that is 3 years back. I don't know why suddenly she got this blues. But whatever it is, I get so many girls coming to me, MSc, gold medalists, coming to me and saying, I want to commit suicide. Just a small problem of life, I want to commit suicide. That means that courage to face the problems of life, that life skill is not there. Courage to face the problems, the art of facing the problems, all these things are not there. Academically brilliant, but at the same time lacking in life skills. Another boy, just he told, crossing the, just getting run over by the train. So many incidents are happening. So this is the thing, what we were thinking about in Baroda is, in Porbandar we have started Vivekanand Institute of Value Education and Culture. It's very soon is going to start. Already many education institutions we have, but now we want to become a resource center for value education. That is a name given by the government of India, so we are giving the name. But we are not satisfied with the name. It's not only the values, but it is something more that we want to give through these value education programs. But we have termed the name Vivekanand Institute of Value Education and Culture at Porbandar, already Rajkot. Vivekanand Institute of Human Excellence is already there in Hyderabad. Ramakrishna Institute of Moral and Spiritual Education has been working for the last 20 years in Mysore. So already in our own education institutions, we are trying to provide the value education. But what about the other institutions? So we want to become a resource center. So here in Baroda we were thinking to have a sort of a functional linkage with the education institutions of Baroda. And the cream of student population of Baroda is in your hand, I know. English medium schools is controlling the best, most brilliant students of Baroda. So that's why I have caught hold of you. I requested Mr. Makwana, please help us, because if I write, they may not come. If you write, perhaps they may come. So he cooperated with me. I am so happy that he cooperated with me. Of course, he has been cooperating from last 3-4 years. We have got a functional linkage. When Jayanti Ravi started the Karma Yogi project, so, she had my mobile number. Wherever I would go, all over Gujarat or anywhere, simply she will tell the DU of that particular place. Swamiji is going to that place, catch hold of him and get this lecture on Karma Yoga. So when I was in Kutch, he caught hold of me. Mr. Makwan was there and DU was Kutch, and he organized a special program. I of course addressed the KPT people in Gandhinagar. All the key resource personnel were trained in Gandhinagar, so Jayanti Ravi listened to my lecture, and that's why she told everywhere you go, talk to them, because what you are talking about is exactly the thing that we want through this our project. But this is why we have called you. We want a functional linkage with you. We are expecting great things from you. Great things. Because the whole face of Baroda can change. The future Baroda citizens are now not only Baroda citizens, some of them may go to states, some of them may go to other countries also, and they are already going. I know they are all brilliant students studying in your schools. So, if you can play an important part in shaping their whole personality, we may have a very different picture after 5 or 10 years. But we have to sow the seeds today. And so we were thinking, in what way we could be of resource, in what way we could get together with you. This meeting is only for that. We want to know from you as to how we can serve the student community, the future citizens, and of course the teachers also, because one teacher can shape or unshape the whole personality of minimum 1,000 students during his or her life. And I am very happy to meet you because you are all controlling the teachers. Whenever I go all over the country talking to the teachers, I just give them a mantra. They say, Swamiji, thoda mantra de dijiye. Aajkal mantra ki bahut some quick fix mantra they want. For success, some mantra you give so that we get quick success, shortcut. Some mantra you give. I said, okay, I'll give you a mantra. But this mantra has to be repeated 10 times in the morning and 10 times at night while going to bed. Then they are very happy. Oh, 10 times is very easy. We thought 108 times. 10 times only 10 times morning after getting up and 10 times at night. You please let us know. Now they start the pen. I said, no need of taking pen because very simple mantra, you will be able to remember it. Still they are very curious. You please give the mantra. Then I say, repeat this mantra morning and evening 10 times. I am a teacher. That's all. But this repetition of 10 times or even 1,000 times will not make any difference unless until you tell this mantra in a particular way. That is the most important thing. How you chant, that is most important. I ask many teachers, what are you doing? What do you do? With a very pitiable face, they say, I am a teacher. Out of compulsion, I tried to get IAS through, but I couldn't get through. And so I tried for GPC, couldn't get through. Bank exam also couldn't go through. So I thought, let me become a teacher. So it is out of compulsion, there was no other alternative. So I become a teacher. So they are very apologetic about it. I am a teacher. If you repeat this mantra with this type of face, it will not make any difference. But I am a teacher, within bracket, how great I am. There is none greater than me in the whole world. I tell, the greatest profession in the whole world is that of a teacher. The greatest profession and the noblest profession is that of a teacher. There cannot be none greater than teacher. How? I prove mathematically. I prove mathematically that there is none greater than teacher in the whole world. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, C is equal to D, and D is equal to E, and therefore A is equal to E. Very simple, mathematically. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, C is equal to D is equal to E, and therefore A is equal to E. Why teachers are the greatest in the whole world? Why teachers' profession is the noblest in the whole world? Why? Because they are the torch bearers. The destiny of the whole world depends upon teachers. How? At present, if we find out what is all happening around in the whole world, Western materialistic culture is destroying the civilization, is bringing lot of evils. According to UNESCO report, 54% of the youth of America, Japan and Sweden are not meeting natural death. The cause of their death is suicide. Lot of drug addiction, AIDS, suicides. This is how the Western youths are going to. And that's why UNESCO was very much apprehensive, and they gave the mandate, education to be, not only education to do. And based on that, Government of India started a new education policy in 1986, in which they gave maximum importance to value education. And whatever is happening in the West is coming here now. We know the case of Columbian School. The student coming and taking the gun and firing. This thing will happen after 5 years here. Maybe earlier also, because now communication has gone up, TV has come, channels have come, and so whatever is happening in other countries is very soon going to come here. You know, last year, Oxford Dictionary has added one more extra word. It was not there. They have added one more extra word. Now, what is the name? The name is affluenza. Influenza, we know, sometimes we get it also. But this is affluenza, and this disease comes to only affluent people. What is affluenza? Affluenza means the people who are very rich, who are very affluent, they try to grab lot of things. And they want to have lot of things. And every day they want new things. So new shoes, new cars, new gadgets, new TVs and all that. And once they get it, after 2 days they get bored out of it. And so they want to get further more. And this way, and the more they get, the more they become dissatisfied. The hedonistic paradox starts operating. And the Nugent neurosis type of disease comes. And finally they commit suicide. Because they are so restless. Any number of cars, any number of shoes, any number of clothes can't give them peace of mind. And now this affluence have come in a big way in the affluent countries. And that's why they are either committing suicide or becoming schizophrenic and going to mental hospital. And 25% of the people in America are now regularly going to psychiatrists, according to National Institute of Mental Health of America. And 44% of 44% are going in Japan, are becoming mental patients, so 100 new mental hospitals opening on an emergency scale. This is all happening. No mental peace in affluent countries. So they have started, the parents have started affluenza resistant society, whereby they are teaching the children every weekend. They take them to the villages and show them, you see the villages, how the village boy is only having only one scooter, not even one car, or one bicycle only, and no car, and you have 3 cars and you want one fourth one. You just look at that boy, how he is surviving, how he is happy in the environment. Likewise, they show them the simple way of living, and they have cut down the pocket expenditure. Of course, even now it is $100 per week compared to ours, $100 even per year of our students. But let us not compare that. But then they are cutting down. You can just imagine $100, they have come now to $100 per week. So how much it would have been earlier? So they were just thinking everything in terms of money only, and lot of diseases, and so lot of mental peace. Affluenza resistant society has come. Now the same disease will be coming. So the values has become, that is why values have become so important. And the same trend will come here if we are not very cautious about it. Another thing, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our president, has written a beautiful book, India 2020, A Vision of the New Millennium. There he gives a beautiful sentence. If you are a teacher, in whatever capacity you are playing a very important role. In whatever capacity you are playing an important part. Why? Because you are shaping the future generations. Future generations are being shaped by the teachers in whatever capacity you are. So that is what he says. So I was with Dr. Kalam on 16th April 2003 at Rashtrapati Bhavan. I had gone there to meet him. I had a 15 minutes appointment with him, and I took, basically I had gone there we had prepared one video CD based on the very inspiring speech that he delivered at Porbandar on 13th February 2002 while inaugurating one of the 81 school buildings constructed by us as part of earthquake rehabilitation project. And of course, we have afterwards brought out a book also based on the inspiring speech that he gave. All this is you will be getting a gift packet while going. At that time, that gift packet will contain that book to the youth of India. It also contains my interaction with Dr. Kalam in detail, but I am giving only a glimpse. So he had delivered a beautiful speech, inspiring speech on 13th February 2002. So we prepared a video CD based on that, and I went on 16th April 2003 to Rashtrapati Bhavan, and I took that video CD and a beautiful portrait of Swami Vivekananda and some books of Swami Vivekananda, inspiring books of Swami Vivekananda, and some cashew nut and all that. Once I handed over, and of course a bouquet, he just stood up in spite of being a president. He is very humble man, very nice man, super fine. I had observed him, I had a lot of interaction with him in 2002. While traveling by car, we were only 2 of us, nobody else, excepting his security on the front. We 2 of us by car from Rajkot to Porbandar. Again, the plane journey from Rajkot to Bombay in the evening on that day. So I found him a very humble man, but after becoming president, he remains humble. So he stood up and he said, Swamiji, you brought so many things for me. I said, what can I bring for you? I am a fakir coming to meet an emperor. Like Sudama, I have come from Sudamapuri. What can I offer to an emperor? Immediately he said, only one emperor, Swamiji. We are servants of the same emperor. Beautiful. Immediately he said, so humble. Only one emperor, Swamiji. We are servants of the same emperor. God is the only emperor. So he is still humble. Then of course we had a lot of talks, and during the talks I told Dr. Kalam, Dr. Kalam said, you want to make India a developed country by 2020? Very good. We are with it because Swami Vivekananda dreamt of a great, glorious India. Not only that, he said, one day he was sitting in Beluru Math, he was meditating. After meditation, suddenly he said, I have seen the future of our country of next 500 years. Then they were very curious. What did you see? He said, I saw that our country has become great. It has become so glorious that all its past glory will fade into insignificance. This is the vision Swamiji had. And he was a great visionary. And whatever he told has come true. Whatever he predicted came true. In 1897 he predicted India shall become independent within 50 years. Exactly after 50 years, 1947, India became independent. Likewise, so many things he predicted. At that time nobody believed, but afterwards came true. But Swami Vivekananda said once, India shall conquer the whole world by its spiritual power. That is yet to come true. But for that, India must become a developed country. So, I told Dr. Kalam, yes, we also want India should develop, but I tell you, even if you bring the wealth of the whole world bank, India's poverty will not go. He said, why Swamiji, why? He immediately stood up, why? I said, for the very simple reason that whatever money you will put into the 5-year plan, by the time it reaches, only 15% will survive. 1 rupee you put into the 5-year plan, according to Rajiv Gandhi, at that time he said 15 paisa comes down. I am very much afraid now whether it is 5 paisa or not. It is being eaten away, taken, pocketed by the ministers and officers all through the line down below. By the time it goes to the grassroots level, people, it is 5 paisa or 10 paisa, maximum 15 paisa. Then he begins. Then what is the solution, Swamiji? I said, corruption is so rampant. You know, the recent study, Transparency International made a survey recently. 10 great countries where corruption is highest. And India still holds one of the 10 great countries. In the corrupt countries, last year we had corruption of 21,000 crores only. Only equivalent to 21,000 crores. And second, more shocking for you, sir, the highest corruption was in the education field. Highest corruption was in the education field. Sri Ramakrishna used to tell a story. You know, a person was possessed by a ghost. So they wanted to drive away the ghost. So what to do? They called a bhua, you know, ghost remover. Bhua, Oza. In Hindi they say Oza, in Gujarati they say bhua. So they called a bhua. Now the bhua came and he took up the mustard seeds. Mustard seeds he took up and started chanting the mantra, very powerful mantra. Now the ghost that was sitting in that person's head, he was a very, very intelligent ghost. So he could understand, gone, because these mantras are so powerful that I am not going to survive. So immediately he entered into the mustard seeds. Now just imagine, the mustard seeds with which you want to remove the ghost also contains the ghost. How can you remove the ghost? So you want to remove corruption by education, and education contains the highest amount of corruption. How can you remove the corruption? Just imagine. This is our paradox. The ghost has entered into the mustard seeds. We want to remove the ghost of corruption by mustard seeds, and the ghost, the fellow, intelligent fellow, has entered into the mustard seeds. Highest corruption in education field. All of you know better than me because you are directly in the line, I am indirectly there. So, solution. What is the solution? Then Dr. Kalam said, what is the solution, Swamiji? I said, only one solution. What we should have done on the day we got independence, that should be done now, better late than never. And what is that? Swami Vivekananda said, education is the panacea of all our evils. But what type of education? He said, what we want is man-making education, character-building education. This is what is lacking. We are giving the best education. We are turning out best engineers, best doctors, best scientists. NASA contains 52% of the scientists are Indians. 35% of the doctors in America are Indians. If today the doctors all come back from America, America will crumble down. NASA will crumble down. R.T. Prabhakaran has become the head of NIST, the highest, the best, the most important scientific institute. They are all Indians conquering. We have got very good brains. And we are bringing out giants, but selfish giants. That is the only problem. Selfish giants. What we want is not only giant, but giants who can really do national reconstruction. So, Swami Vivekananda gave that message, what we want is man-making education, character-building education, and he gave a formula. National reconstruction cannot take place, national rebuilding cannot take place. Sunaina Tomar is arriving in Circuit House. She will be received by him and then she will be brought. So at present we are continuing with our session. We will continue. So this is time for her to come. We have told our second session will start at 10:30. Before that we will have a tea break. So Swami Vivekananda said national rebuilding cannot take place without character building. There was a boy, a naughty boy, and his father got unnerved because all his efforts were in vain and he was not able to do any work and the fellows were always shouting. So he called the boy, come here, I will give you some work. Go to the next room. Unless you have finished the room work, don't come here. And now what work to do? So that whole day he is busy in that work. After long thinking, he took up the map of India. Cut it into small pieces, go. Make the whole India map. Paste all the pieces, let the map be perfect map of India. And then come here, don't come before that. He sent him away. And now the father was very happy whole day because the poor fellow hasn't got the knowledge of geography. Where is UP and where is South India and where is Gujarat and where is Baroda and where is Rajkot and where is Calcutta, all those things. Was very happy. But within 5 minutes the boy came. I told you to bring the map of India. Yes, I have brought. He saw perfect map of India. How could he do it? It's very easy. What? To unite India? National integration is such a big problem. How could he do it? He said, you see, when I took up the map and I took the pieces, I tried to paste it together, but I was not able to do it. And so I thought it will not be done by me. So I started playing with the pieces. Suddenly I discovered there is an image of a person of the pieces. So I put all the pieces together, head, hands, feet, everything. I made the image of the person perfect and then convert and just reversed it. The whole map of India was there. So Swami Vivekananda says, make the man all right, the country will become all right automatically. Build the personality of the citizens and then the nation reconstruction will automatically take place. So national reconstruction must be preceded by character building. This national reconstruction is a must if we really want to fulfill the dream of Swami Vivekananda of conquering the whole world. Today the whole world is waiting for being conquered by Indian culture and spirituality. As I told you, affluents have come in a big way. They want mental peace. 4th August 2003, the Time magazine contained front page photo of a Hollywood actress meditating. Inside story it was told, now you can't avoid meditation in America, in airports, boardrooms, schools, colleges, everywhere you will have meditation rooms, meditation chapels. 10 billion Americans are regularly meditating for getting peace of mind, for not salvation or for enlightenment. Doesn't matter, they will come second stage. But at least they have started. Last year, as I told you, I had been to UK for that international conference on disaster management at Coventry University. So I took this opportunity of visiting some of our centers in Europe. So I went to Holland, Germany, France, Switzerland. I wanted to, visit the Vatican City and I wanted to go to Rome. But somehow the France embassy did not extend my visa. So I had to take the flight from Zurich, Switzerland to Bombay. So I went to Zurich. What do I find in Zurich airport? Meditation chapel. In the airport, meditation chapel. Everywhere meditation chapels coming. And 75% of the fitness clubs are having regular courses on yoga. 92 out of 125 medical schools in America, I'm all talking about America, are having regular courses on alternative medicine. It contains yoga and meditation. So Indian culture and spirituality is now the only method by which they are able to have stress management. There are many methods of stress management. I give talks on stress management when I go to various companies. But then the Western models are not working and so they are coming to meditation. techniques for stress management. So the world can be conquered, the whole world can be saved. Conquered means we do not want to conquer politically, we don't want to have the bombs. But what is meant is that today the whole of humanity is suffering from mental problem, from mental distress, unrest. Now in order to save the mankind from this restlessness, in order to give peace of mind to the mankind, what is required is the Indian culture and spirituality, yoga, meditation, Vedantic elixir. That is all required. But how can it be done? Today, India cannot be accepted as a world teacher. Why? For the very simple reason, you are a poor country, you are a developing country. How dare you give sermon to a developed country? So first we have to become a developed country. So in order to do real good to the whole of humanity, we must have, first of all, the preaching, the spreading of the message of Indian culture and spirituality, A is equal to B. Now, but in order that India can become a real world teacher, it must become a developed country. The national development is a must, B is equal to C. And this national development cannot take place without the character building of the citizens, C is equal to D. And these enlightened citizens can be produced not in factories. We do not have any mold that we can go on producing the factories. Where it can be produced? The character building takes place. Character is nothing but a bundle of habits, Swami Vivekananda says. And these habits are formed out of samskaras. It is the samskaras which give rise to a character. Now, these samskaras or the impressions are derived from 4 sources. Number 1 source, past birth. Second source, parents, genetically or by behavior pattern, or by the teaching or the preaching given by the parents. Number 3, outside environment, the type of friendships, the type of friends, the type of TV program seen, and the type of values existing in the society. And the 4th most important denominator that decides the samskara of a character of a human being is the teacher. The psychologists say, particularly from the age of 8 to 14 years, the greatest influence is played by the teacher. Teacher is the role model for that boy or girl. So, teachers play a very important role. So, in order to save mankind, we must have Indian culture and spirituality. In order to spread the Indian culture and spirituality, India must rise and become a superpower or become a developed country, B is equal to C. And in order to have that national reconstruction, national rebuilding, we must have character building of the citizens, C is equal to D. Who are shaping the future generations? The future great people are now under you. Now, you may make Mahatma Gandhi out of him or Bin Laden, that depends upon you. The whole freedom is with you. How you train him, how you give education. That is why teachers are the greatest torch bearers of change. And these torch bearers are working under you. So how greater you are. And that is why I am very happy to, and that's why I called you. That you can play a very important part. And so we have called you. What type of, how can we go about it for this value education? We have to think seriously about it. I told Dr. Kalam. Then Dr. Kalam said, how to go about it? I said, this is what we are doing. We through our education institutions, we are trying to give this value education. But at the same time, we have started institutes specifically for becoming the resource center for value education. So in Baroda also, we were just wondering whether we could become a resource center for the schools of Baroda, whereby we can supply with the video CDs, the audiovisual aids, the booklets and the books, and we can have series of programs at various levels for principals, for teachers, for students, at various levels of students, on various types of subjects. For example, in Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence in Hyderabad, we have a series of programs, 1 week program on self-confidence, another 1 week program on concentration, another 1 week program on meditation, so many things. Total personality development. And then, not only in our ashrama we conduct, but we go all over the country. During last about 10 years, I might have visited about 500 education institutions, more than 500 education institutions all over the country. I'm going to Jammu in September. I had been earlier to Jammu University also. And Dehradun, some of the best schools of Dehradun. I have talked to the students of Dun School, Brighton Boys School, Brighton Girls School. Likewise, in Dehradun, in Ranchi, in this Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, everywhere. Of course, in Gujarat. So I go to them, and many of our monks are going like that. And we have a 4 hours program on total personality development. We call total personality development. And first of all, we tell them how is it different from personality development. Because most of the programs on personality development, they revolve around how to appear, how to have a better appearance, how to impress others, how to have better external appearance, what type of hairstyle, what type of dresses, what type of etiquettes, manners, hello, how are you, fine, thank you. And then at the most, public speaking, how to give a very nice, inspiring public speech, that's all. But we talk about total personal development is not only external part of it, but the internal development of the personality, which is very important for a long-term success, and which is nothing but less than character building. So Swami Vivekananda said, what we want is man-making education, character building education. Unfortunately, I tell them, we are giving them demon-making education. One reporter already published in newspapers, Swami Nikhileswaran kahe chhe Rakshas Nirmarkari Shikshan, demon making education. I hope there is no press reporter here. But what I meant to say was, demon making education, Bhartrihari, a great Sanskrit poet, has given Niti Shatakam. In there, he says, there are 4 types of people in the society. Number 1, एते सत्पुरुषाः परार्थ घटकाः स्वार्थान् परित्यज्य सामान्यस्तु परार्थम उद्यम अव्रत स्वार्थ अविरोधेन ये तेमी मानुष राक्षसाः परहितम निघ्नन्ति ये निघ्नन्ति निरर्थकम परहितम ते केन जानीमहे. There are 4 types of people in the whole society. Number 1, Satpurusha. What do? They try to do good to others even at their own cost. Second, Samanya Manusha, ordinary human beings. They first try to do good to themselves and then they try to do good to others. Third, Manush Rakshasa. They are looking like human beings, but they are demon-like. Manush Rakshasa is the name. So what do? For their small self-interest, they can do any amount of harm to others. For their small self-interest. Example, this is an executive engineer, not a Baroda. And of course you are all principals, you don't mind, because I will not give example principal, I give the other places. So executive engineer, what does he do? He takes 10 lakhs of rupees from under the table, not from above the table. And then tells the contractor, you can mix any amount of sand with the cement, don't worry. While constructing a dam, check dam is constructed, it's a government contract, so he takes our 10 lakhs of rupees and the executive engineer is very happy, he builds his own house. Now there is nothing but sand and so heavy rains come, washed out, everything washed out, and hundreds of people die, thousands of people become homeless, crores of rupees lost to the nation. Doesn't matter, I have got my home. Let the country go to docks, let the society go to docks, let the people go to docks. Manush Rakshasa. Or a doctor says, one of our devotees went to Bombay for further treatment, and she told me that the first question the doctor asked was, he didn't ask, what is the disease, how long you're suffering, what is the problem. The first question asked was, how much can you spend, what is the budget. Depending on the budget, they will find out the test, and the test also, the laboratory also known to them. You have to go to the same laboratory, they will telephone what type of test to be given, then they tell the operation is needed because 3 lakhs is the budget. So they will say within 3 lakhs we will operate. Even if not needed, they will operate. And by chance the patient dies, what to do, you came little late. But I have got my 3 lakhs rupees, let the patient go to docks. Manush Rakshasa. And the 4th type of people are also there. Bhartari says, but I can't give the name. I have tried to scratch my head. Teke na jani mahe. I am not able to give the name because they are worse than the Manush Rakshasa. Manush Rakshasa are such, for their small self-interest they can do any amount of harm to others. 4 types of such, without their own small self-interest, only they enjoy others' suffering. They enjoy others' suffering. Somebody's house is burning. Ah, very nice. They are so happy. Did you get any benefit? No, but I am very happy. That fellow's house is burnt. Those people who enjoy others' suffering, those who enjoy others' harm, those who enjoy others' disadvantages without getting any advantage to themselves, well, they are the fourth type. Bhartari says, Te ke na jani mein. These are the four types of people told by Bhartari in Niti Shatakam. And I have made a latest research. There is fifth type also. Te ke na jani mein. I can't give the name, but I can tell you what do they do. Four type are such that without getting their own any benefit whatsoever, they enjoy others' suffering. Fifth type are such, they enjoy others' harm so much, by harming themselves they harm others. They enjoy others' harm so much. And so they sit down in the aeroplane and just strike with the world tower, 5,000 people dead. Oh, so nice. I have died, doesn't matter, but I have killed 5,000. So nice. You know, today also newspaper, London bombing. All suicides. They themselves are dying. They want to die. They want to kill themselves in order to kill others. They enjoy others killing so much. These are the fifth type. They were not existing perhaps at the time. And even now you will find, I'm not talking about terrorists only. At least they are being good or bad there. We know, but they are having their own philosophy that we are going to go to heaven by killing 5,000 people. That is their motivation, whatever it is. In society we find there are some people who would go to the extent of their own damage. If I don't get any promotion, doesn't matter, but he shouldn't get it. Yes. If I will forego my promotion, but he should not get it. This is a peculiar Indian quality. We are experts in that. Swami Vivekananda said, everything is good with us. We have got very good culture, with everything, this and that. But the only thing is that there is jealousy. We can't tolerate our brother's success. Enemy's success we can tolerate. Foreigner's success we can tolerate, but not our own brothers. So that's why somebody said funnily, oh, Indian scientists, oh, they are wonderful. Indian technocrats, wonderful. Indian scholars, wonderful. One Indian is equal to two Japanese. And one Japanese is equal to two Americans. The formula is one Indian is equal to two Japanese is equal to four Americans. But the next equation is 2 Indian is equivalent to 0 Japanese and 0 American. Because both will fight among themselves and pull each other's leg and the result will be 0. So, this trying to do harm to others even at the cost of their own harm, this has been our story in India. And this is why we have been failing. This is why we had to face 1,000 years of slavery. So, these are the 4 types of people by Bhartari, and the 5th type I have told. In the society today, what do we find? 3rd type, Manush Rakshasa, quite so many you will find. 4th type also much, 5th type also so many. Samanya Manusha, ordinary human beings are very, very in minority. And Satpurusha, you have to go with a microscope. Not available, not to be seen. That is why Swami Vivekananda said, what we want is man-making education, character-building education, not demon-making education. At present is a demon-making education. Giants we are building, but selfish giants. And that is why there is an urgent need of character-building education. That is why it was there, better late than never, we should have done earlier. And what is the total personal development of character building? I try to say 4 types. Physical development of the personality, mental development of the personality, intellectual development of the personality, moral development of the personality, and spiritual development of the personality. 5 dimensions of a personality. All of them must be developed. There is a very small, very fine difference between moral and spiritual. Only moral development will not do. Spiritual development is a must if we want to have a permanent success, a long-term success. Now even Erich Fromm in his book, The 5 Riches of Human Nature, has told not only self-actualization but self-transcendence. A true human being is primarily determined by the extent to which he has liberated his own self. That is what Einstein says in his book, The World as See It. And Lincoln Barnett says, universe and Dr. Einstein, man has a unique capacity of transcending himself and perceiving himself in the act of perception. So this self-transcendence, not only self-actualization. So that is the difference between, by having a moral development, you will become an enlightened citizen. Yes, very good. But much more than that is a spiritual development when you fulfill the basic necessity, the basic requirement of a human being, the basic duty of a human being, and that is of getting self-realization. So, all the 5 dimensions, and for that I propose, when I go and talk to the youths on taking workshops on total personality development, I talk about Panchashila: self-confidence, self-dependence or self-reliance, 3rd, self-knowledge, 4th is self-control, and 5th is self-sacrifice. Self-confidence, self-dependence, self-knowledge, self-control, and self-sacrifice. With this Panchashila, we try to get all the 5 dimensions of personality developed, and for which we tell in daily life, you must practice the 4 yogas. Raj Yoga, meditation; Bhakti Yoga, prayer; Jnana Yoga, reading inspiring books every day; and 4th is Karma Yoga, doing your duty, doing your work in the spirit of worship. Suppose you are a student, you try to do it as a worship. You are a teacher, try to teach. Taking teaching as your worship. It is not a student whom I am teaching. No. Vidyarthi Narayana. There is God in that student whom I am trying to worship. The work becomes worship immediately. It is not a work. And so that work directly leads you to God realization or the ultimate reality or the spiritual development. So I try to talk to them about that, and I try to talk to them about for TPD we require all the 3 Q. IQ, EQ and SQ. IQ you know very well, intelligence quotient. Of course that we have to develop. But another thing is EQ, emotional quotient or emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman made a research in 1991, and then he says emotional intelligence is very important, much more important than ordinary intelligence. We must have emotional stability, emotional maturity. We must have the capacity of controlling our emotions. Otherwise, we will not have success, long-term success. So EQ is very important. And now the latest book is by Dana Zohar. The name of the book is SQ, Spiritual Intelligence, the Ultimate Intelligence. And there she says, neurologically, physiologically, biologically, psychologically, from every point of view there is a concluding evidence, there is something called SQ, which is the basis of both IQ and EQ. And what is IQ? IQ will tell you how to play the game of life. What is EQ? EQ will tell you how to play the game of life under changed circumstances with changed strategies. And what is SQ? SQ will tell you whether to play the game of life at all or not. Well, that is your choice. Why are we here to play the game of life? What is the meaning of life? What is the purpose of life? Why are we born? What is the purpose of a human being? Why have we come? This is SQ. So we must develop IQ, EQ and SQ, all the 3, in order to have a total fulfillment of life, and for that we must have total personality development, and not only personality development external but internal too, physical, mental, intellectual, moral and spiritual development personality. That can be obtained by Panchashila, self-confidence, self-dependence, self-knowledge, self-control and self-sacrifice, by combining 4 yogas in daily life. This is what I tell them. I have given a nutshell. So, I give the success formula for the teachers. I have given them one mantra. That is, I am a teacher. But you must know how great I am. And so for that, the success formula for teachers is 3D plus 3Q plus 3C. That is equal to S. S is equal to 3D plus 3Q plus 3C. What is 3D? Number 1, dignity of profession. I am the greatest in the whole world. There cannot be any person greater than a teacher. That dignity must come to each and every teacher. Once dignity comes, once you know how important you are for saving the whole of humanity, for saving the nation, and for national development, and for your own children who are going to grow up, and for a new society, then automatically dedication will come. And the next step is devotion, converting work into worship, not teaching the students, but thinking they are not students, they are God. They are the immortal self. They are the centers of consciousness, centers of divinity. And so I am worshipping Vidyarthi Narayana and not Vidyarthi, converting work into worship. That devotion will give you ultimate realization, infinite existence, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss you will get. So 3D plus 3Q, IQ, EQ, SQ and 3C, that is confidence, concentration, and third Q is communication. Communication techniques for a teacher is a must. Communication not only with the students, that is how to take classes in the school, that also is important. Need of audiovisual aids, that is also important. Communication techniques with the students is also important, but also communication with the parents, which we miss. It's a triangle. When we talk about value education, it's a triangle. At one angle is the students, second angle teacher, third is the parents. So the communication with the parents have to be established. The communication with the students have to be established. Classroom techniques have to be evolved. This communication will give you success. And of course, confidence is a must. How to get confidence, we will discuss in the second session if time permits. And concentration is very important. Concentration, for getting concentration, there are various techniques which I tell the students. Of course, the teacher also needs the same techniques. And one of the important methods is meditation. This Sunday, I am going to talk about concentration meditation at 6:15. So I will not involve much time. In fact, we had a meditation session just now, but we started late. So we may not have meditation session today, but I am going to talk about concentration meditation on Sunday, 6:15 to 7:15. So this is what we are here for. So at present, I have given you some guide, some hints as to why we have called you. We want your suggestions. I had given two things in my letter of request. Number one, please bring with you what are the types of value education programs you are conducting. Second, what are your future plans? Please submit it. Plus, we have devised a feedback form, which while going you take, either fill it up now or send it afterwards, in which we have asked, what are your comments about this program? What type of future programs we should have, your suggestions. And third thing is that whether there is any concrete implementation that you want to do. All those things, the feedback form also will be given. At the end, you will be given a gift packet that you please carry. We have given a lot of books, and of course the Vivek notebook that we have published. One copy, we have given a sample copy. We brought out these Vivek notebooks. We found the students are having notebooks with pictures of those heroes and all that, film heroes. So we thought, no, let Swami Vivekananda be your hero. I told them, you let Vivekananda make your hero and you will get 100% marks. Because Swami Vivekananda 100% confidence, 100% concentration. He is the image of concentration, meditation. So on each and every page there is a writing of Swami Vivekananda, one good inspiring sentence. Vivek notebooks are available. In the, of course, you will have announcements, will be told. There is a books section where these Vivek notebooks are available. So this Vivek notebook we have given in the gift packet. There are so many other books. My lecture at Ahmedabad Management Association was there, Teachers a Torchbearer of Change. That booklet also I have given. So I have given a brief resume of what I told there and given the equation A is equal to B is equal to C is equal to D is equal to E, proving that teachers are the greatest on this earth and the greatest and the best profession. So there will be some announcements. So please follow these announcements, and we will have in the second session, question answer session. I want you to ask any question that you think of. I'll be very frankly, I would like to answer the questions. And in the second session, we are going to start instead of 10:30, we will start at 10:45. Sunaina Tomar will be giving her speech. After her speech, we will try to give replies to your questions which are asked to me or to Sunaina Tomar. And then we will have interaction and feedback from you, and we would like you also to speak. So for the time being, I am very thankful to you, all of you, for giving a patient hearing, and I am very happy that you have shown so much keen interest. I am looking forward to a more enlightening and more interactive session in the second session. Thank you very much.